Hello guys, welcome to our channel. So in today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to cut this beautiful corset top with a puff sleeve. So guys, if you are interested in knowing this, kindly like, subscribe to this channel and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you can get updates from us whenever we post a new video. So guys, let's get straight into the video. So guys, I'm just going to mark the half length for this blouse, which is 16. So I'm going to connect this as seen. So from there, I'll just go ahead and mark the full length of this blouse. So I'll be using 23-inch. Just go ahead and mark 23 for the length of this blouse. So after I was done doing that, I just went ahead to mark my horizontal measurements. So I'll go ahead and mark the under bust measurement. That's from your shoulder to your under bust. Mine is 12.5. So I went ahead to mark and ruled it out. So I labeled my under bust, my waist, and my half length. So I'm going to measure the bust point, that is from your shoulder to your nipple. So mine is 9. I went ahead to measure 9. So in order to get the chest line, I'll just go ahead and mark 1.5 inch. So I have my chest line over there. So what I'll do, I'm just going to mark my shoulder measurement. So shoulder measurement I'm using is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So I just went ahead to mark 7. So I connected from the shoulder to the chest line. So I'll come down by 1 inch in order to get my shoulder slope. I also went in by 2.3 in 2.5. So if you are working with a bigger size, you can use 3 inch in order to get the shoulder slope. So I'll just go ahead and mark the center, get the center of that armhole line. So from there, I'll go in by 0.5 inch in order to avoid bugginess around my armhole like this. So I went ahead to divide my bust measurement by 4. So just mark your bust measurements. Mine is 8.5, 8.25. So I'm just going to connect. So from there, I'll be imputing my bust span measurements. That is nipple to nipple. Mine is 7, divided by 2 is 3.5. So guys, I went ahead to mark 3.5 and I'm going to connect like so. So from there, I'm just going to go in by 0.5 inch on both sides to get my waist dart. So if you are working with a bigger size, you can use 0.75 on both sides. So I'll just go ahead and mark 1 inch from the bust point. I'm going to connect to the waistline. Can you see? So from there, I'll connect it to the hip, to the full length. So guys, after I was done doing that, I'll go to my under bust measurements. I'm just going to be marking 0.5 inch on both sides from both that leg. Okay, so mark 0.5 inch. If you are working with a plus size, you can use 0.75. So mark 0.5 inch on both sides. I'm just going to connect with my curve to get my under bust curve. So I'll do the same thing to the other side. So guys, after I was done doing that, I noticed my dart intake was 1.5. Just measure what you have there. So I'm going to be measuring 0.75 for both sides, and on the hip line, on the full length, I'm just going to connect straight from the under bust down to the full length of my blouse. So I'm just going to mark 3.5 inch on the shoulder and randomly connect this. Actually, this neckline is not relevant, so I'm just going to get the midpoint of my shoulder, which is, I have it over there. I'm just going to connect it to my bust point. Can you see? So guys, after I was done doing that, I'm going to be measuring 1.5 inches that I had at my under bust measurements. So I'm going to divide these measurements. So before then, I'm just going to go up by 1.5 inch because I don't want this corset to be too revealing. So you can actually use your chest line, or you can go up by 1.1 inch. So I'm just going to divide or share this that So I'll mark 0.5 to the sides going to the center front and 1 inch to the side going to the side front. Okay, so I'm just going to connect with a straight ruler. I'll do that to the second side as well. Connect as seen. So guys, in order to avoid gaping, okay, so just blend, make sure you blend this. So in order to avoid gaping, I'm just going to go in by 0.25 on both sides. So I'll connect like so. So I discovered one side of the cup is usually longer than the other. So I'm just going to go up by 0.5 on the side facing the center front side. So go up by 0.5. From there, I'm just going to measure the neck depth, which is 7.5. So at that point, I'll go in by 0.5. So just mark it like so. So I'm just going to take my curve and position it in such a way that I'll be able to get my center front cup. Okay, so just connect like so. After I was done doing that, I'm going to be connecting the neck. Here is our center front cup. So to get the side front cup, I'm just going to mark the distance between the shoulder and the bust measurement. So it's 1 inch, half of it is 0.5. So you come down by 0.5 and mark like so. So I'll just go ahead and connect with a curve. Can you see? Just watch what I'm doing, guys. If you don't know, if you don't understand this, watch what I'm doing. So connect like so. Ensure you avoid any pointed edge. So I'm just going to use my curve to connect this together. So I'll go ahead and please position my curve in such a way like you see me doing, so that I can get the second curve, that is my side front curve. Okay, so I have it. So I'm just going to place an arrow for the joining so you don't get confused when I cut this out. So make sure you do the same thing. So I'm going to be adding my measurements. Remember, we are going to be cutting this off, so measure what you have there and replace it back. That's 1 inch. So the seam allowance I'll be using is 1.5. So I'll come down to the waist measurements. The waist measurement I'm using is 6.5. Divide your waist measurement by 4. So mine is 6.5. So measure the dart intake, replace it back and add your seam allowance 1.5. So I'm just going to connect from the bust measurement to the waist. So for the hip measurement is 9.5. Divide your hip by 4. Mark, measure the dart intake. Mine is 1.5. Okay, so I'm just going to replace it and add the seam allowance of 1.5 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect from the waist to the hip line or the full length. So guys, after I was done doing that, on the waist measurement I'll go up by 1.2 inch. So I'll go ahead and fold over like so. Just watch what I'm doing, guys. Fold the center front. After folding, I just want to connect from the waist measurement down to the hem of this blouse. Okay, so from the hem I'm going to be marking 2 inch. Mark 2 inch. Then from that 2 inch I'm just going to connect with a curve. So I'm going to connect this with a curve. After I was done doing that, I'm just going to make an arrow so I would know where to cut out. So I'm going to open this up. So guys, we are through with the front pattern for this corset blouse. So we'll go ahead and draft the back for this blouse. So guys, I'll just go ahead and extend my lines for the back pattern. So note, for this blouse I'm going to be adding loop at the back, so no zipper allowance. But if you want to add zip to your dress, I've gone ahead to mark 1.5 in case you want to use a zipper for your back. So use 1.5 inch or 1 inch. So I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement. I came down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. Just repeat what we did for the front pattern. So my bust point is 9. I'm just going to mark 9 like so. So from this bust point, I'll go ahead and go up by 1.5 inch to get the chest line. Okay, so I'm going to mark 7 inch on the chest line to get my armhole line. Just connect like so. So I'm going imputing my bust measurement, which is 8 1/4, and my waist measurement is 6 1/2. Then I'm going to add 1 inches dart and 1.5 seam allowance. So I'll repeat the same thing. I'll add the seam allowance to the bust point and connect. So for the full length, I'm just going to mark my hip measurement, then add the seam allowance. So I've gone ahead to connect like so. So the bust part measurement is 3.5, that is 7 divided by 2. So I've gone ahead to connect. So on the waistline, I'll be using 0.5 inches dart, but if you're working with a plus size, you can use 0.75 on both sides. So I've gone ahead to connect to my waistline and to the bust point. So I'll go ahead and connect my armhole line to the bust using my curve. So for the back of this dress, I'll be using loop and not zip. So I'll be marking 2 inch from the chest line down to the length of my dress. So because I'll not be using zip, but if you want your back to be really open, you can use 3 inch, but I want mine not to be too open. Come down by 1.5 from the waist and connect like so. Remember, I'll be cutting off that area where we'll be having loop. Get the center of the armhole line and the bust measurement. Come down by 0.5 inch and connect. So I want the back to be lower a little. Just come down by 2 inch from the chest line, or you can use the bust point measurement. So you connect to your bust measurement, and that's all for the back. So guys, we'll go ahead and cut the front. Please guys, take your time when cutting this. Ensure you follow me just the way I'm cutting mine so you don't make mistake. So that's it guys. Also, do not forget to label your cup so you don't get to mix them up when joining. So ensure you label your cup before cutting. So I'll go ahead and cut the back. Remember, I will not be using the full length for this blouse. You're just going to cut through from that place where we measured 1.5 inch earlier while we were drafting. So we are going to be cutting through that line. I'll also go ahead and cut off the back darts. Then I'm going to use my masking tape or a cello tape, but make sure you use a masking tape. When I try using a cello tape, I almost spoil my back pattern, so ensure you use a masking tape instead of this. As you can see, I almost spoil my back pattern, so make sure you use a masking tape. It's much more flexible than this cello tape. Here are my patterns for my corset blouse: the front cup, the back, the center front, the side front. So guys, you should have these. I'll go ahead and transfer them on my fabric and also cut the lining piece for this pattern. So make sure you do same. So guys, I hope you find this helpful. If you are new to our channel, kindly like, subscribe to this channel, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you can get updates from us whenever we post a new video. So guys, until I see you in my next video, bye.